All right, let's talk about how much do WordPress consultants make in the United States. This is going to be a conversation that's pretty interesting because we're going to take a look at it from a couple of different perspectives. First, we're going to take a look at it from like what's an average WordPress salary, and then we'll take a look at what is an average hourly rate for like a self-employed WordPress consultant in the United States. And then third, we're going to wrap it up with what would be something to expect that you could make kind of in the future. Like what's a good amount to, like what could you be making? What's the opportunity cost for, maybe not making the right marketing decisions and things like that. So the final point that I wanted to, I have a bunch of notes here. So the final point that I want to take away from all of this is what are like three things that you can do to really change the outcome of your income, especially going into 2020. So here we are kind of in December, we're kind of wrapping things up, and how can we make things different and new for the new year? And that's what we're gonna be talking about today. So I went through and I collected some stats, and it was a little bit challenging to collect these stats because we're looking at it from so many different angles, right? So we've got like people that have WordPress salaries, like people that have been hired to do WordPress work in some capacity for someone else. I went to Indeed, I went to ZipRecruiter, I went to PayScale, just a bunch of different places where I could find stats on like how much people are paying for those types of jobs in the United States, mind you. So I don't want to talk about what people are making in Bangladesh or somewhere else, or even in other countries in general, like Canada, Mexico, the European Union, whatever. Like I want to focus specifically on the United States because that's kind of where I work. That's where my clients are. That's kind of what we kind of do in DoubleStack. Is a lot of attention is focused on specifically the United States because there's things that you need to know, like payment gateways, for example, e-commerce, shipping, taxes, local search techniques. All of those types of things differ from country to country. So that's why I wanted to focus specifically on the United States. So with that in mind, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a quick summary, and then after we finish this, I'm going to link to a full article that I wrote about all of this stuff. So right now what we're doing is we're just kind of going over the service, kind of getting the gist of what we're talking about. If it seems like the kind of thing you want to dive in deeper, then you can click the link in the article that I'm about to share in just a minute and kind of dive in deeper. But the bottom line is that when it comes to getting hired as a WordPress developer, as a salaried employee, the average in the United States is about $58,000 per year. That's basically where it all kind of shakes down. And of course, it's obviously different based on different. Like New York has higher salaries than Wisconsin does, and Virginia's sort of in the middle, which is I'm in Virginia. So keeping all of that in mind, it comes to basically about $58,000 per year, a little less than 60 grand a year. And there's a range. The range tends to be somewhere between like $35,000 per year up to maybe I think I saw salaries as high as like $137,000 per year. So there's definitely a range there, but on average it seems to be a little less than 60 grand a year, a little less than $5,000 per month is what people tend to make as a salaried employee doing WordPress related work. But now let's take a look at what about self-employed WordPress consultants, because that's a different thing. And this is where it really begins to get kind of tricky because the average hourly rate for WordPress work is about $30 an hour. So so if you look at Codeable and Upwork and Fiverr and just talking to people that kind of charge hourly rates for things, most of the time, it seems like everything sort of averages out at about $30 per hour. Now, again, there's a range. It seems from the research that I did over the past couple days, the range seems to be about $20 an hour up to $100 an hour. So there's definitely a range there, taking into account your credentials and how much time you have, your expertise, all that kind of stuff. But on average, it seems like things are about $30 an hour. And that actually adds up to what you would sort of expect based on that $60,000 per year salary. So here's why I wanted to talk about this, because if you're a self-employed WordPress consultant and you're trying to figure out what your pricing needs to be, and you're looking at those numbers and then saying, okay, well, maybe I'll do something similar, you end up hurting yourself. and the main reason why, there's a couple reasons why, but one of the big reasons why is you can't bill out 100% of your hours. So like if you're a salaried employee and you go to work for somebody, they pay you for all of the hours, right? Like they pay you an 8-hour day. And even if you're not doing billable work, you still get paid. When you're self-employed, you only get paid for billable hours. Like, for example, going to client meetings, no payment. Or at least networking events, those types of things. Writing proposals for projects you haven't won yet, that's free labor. Doing updates on people's websites who haven't subscribed to any sort of a maintenance plan with you or something like that, but they need the updates anyway, so you do the work. Free hours, right? So figuring out what you need to do to find new clients, free hours. It's like, so there's tons and tons of time that goes into most people's businesses that's non-billable work. And that doesn't even touch on like paying taxes, fiddling around in QuickBooks, invoicing, answering phone calls, sending emails. There's tons of things that go on during the day that is just not billable work for most people. And that's where the numbers kind of get out of whack. And so, and the reason I wanted to talk about that is because I work primarily with self-employed WordPress consultants. And I know a bunch of people in this group are kind of in that camp. So I wanted to kind of dispel some myths and kind of help you figure out how to dial your pricing in. And then at the end, in just a second here, I'm going to wrap things up with how you can do way better than these numbers, way better than these numbers. But before we get to that, we have to kind of get a sense for what doesn't really work right. And it's easy to slip into thinking that you want to set your hourly rate based on how many hours you want to work. And people think, okay, well, I work an 8-hour day and that means 5 days a week. So that's going to be 40 hours a week. And then you think, well, there's 52 weeks out of the year. And so then you multiply 52 times 40 and you get 2,080. So that's like the total number of work hours in the whole year is 2,080. But then maybe you take some vacation, but forget about that for now. So let's just assume it's 2,080 hours per year. And you want to make about $75,000 per year in terms of your annual income. And you kind of do all the math and say, okay, I need to charge about $36 an hour. And then that kind of matches up to what you've seen on like the average hourly rates and so forth on Upwork and Fiverr and all these other job boards and so forth. And you think, okay, that's what I'll charge too. I'll go ahead and kind of quote out my projects and so forth, thinking it's going to be about $36 an hour. Well, the problem is the arithmetic doesn't add up right like that, because fewer than 50% of your hours are probably going to be billable. Most of the time, less than half of your time is billable because of all the things we just talked about: finding clients, invoicing people, doing all the non-billable things that have to go on in the normal course of your workflow. Tends to be something where you're only billing out about half your time. In fact, most of the people I talk to bill out about a third of their time. About 30-ish% of their time is actual billable time when you take into account all the other things that they're doing for their business. And so that becomes a big problem. So what would otherwise be an hourly rate that might generate like $36 per hour, which would be an hourly rate that would generate up to like $75,000 per year, actually only generates about $35,000, $30,000 to $35,000 per year. So that's why most of the self-employed WordPress consultants in the United States tend to make about $2,000 to $3,000 per month, which puts them somewhere in the vicinity of $30,000 to $35,000 per year in terms of the revenue that their business makes for them. Now, again, there's going to be a huge range, and I'm going to tell you in just a second how to do way better than this, but that's the average. So if you feel like you're kind of in that position where, some months you might make $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, other months are not so good and it's not there at all, and maybe you make like a couple $100 or something from hosting packages or whatever, but then it all averages out and you make about $3,000 a month. That tends to be where people land with regard to being self-employed WordPress consultants in the United States. So with that in mind, how do we do better? Like, how can we fix this problem so that you can make, $75,000 or $100,000? How do you build like a 6-figure business without burning yourself out, losing your sanity, losing your integrity, overcharging for things, charging for things you're not actually doing? Like sometimes people will like put together these maintenance plans, but not actually do the maintenance, but then charge people anyway. That's losing your integrity, which is obviously we don't want to do that. So how do you do it? So what are some things that you can do to kind of put in place for going into 2020 so that you can generate a lot more revenue for yourself without burning out and without losing your sanity, and with keeping that healthy work-life balance and keeping your mental health in check, all of those things? How do we do it? There's a couple things that you want to change with regard to all of these things. There's basically 3 big points that I want to emphasize with regard to making more money from your business while still keeping that healthy work-life balance. And the truth is, in the United States, as a WordPress consultant, self-employed, you can be generating a 6-figure income, which is why we have the DoubleStack 5-figure family. It's like, go to doublestack.net and scroll down about halfway down the page and you'll meet the DoubleStack 5-figure family. I just added another guy. We just put Caleb in there a couple of days ago. So in fact, I'm actually going to post an interview that I just had with Caleb talking about a lot of the success that he's been having. But the point is, people are landing $10,000 plus clients, which is, of course, what gets you into the DoubleStack 5-figure family. And I'll mail you this trophy, and you'll put it on your desk, and we'll all take pictures and celebrate and high-five each other, because it's absolutely possible to be landing $10,000 plus clients and generating a 6-figure income for yourself, and it's awesome. So in fact, I was just talking to Alex, who is also a recent member of the DoubleStack 5-figure family. He's completely replaced his full-time salary. He's on track to make clear about $100,000 a year this year, and he did it all. He made the whole transition happen in less than a year, about six to 8 months. He replaced his full-time income, and he's probably going to make about $100,000 a year. So how do you do it? What are the tricks? What are the things that you can do to kind of put all this stuff together? And there's 3 big things. And the first one is just developing a high-value mindset. And what that means is believing that it actually is in fact true, that you can do it, and that it's worth it. It's a valuable thing. And basically that comes down to understanding that there really is no better way for your clients to spend their marketing budget than to spend it with you, helping develop their online presence and their marketing. Now, keep in mind what that means. So that's what you need to believe, because it's true. But you can't believe that if all you're doing is just handing them a website and moving on. Like, you've got these one and done projects and you are charging a couple $100 or whatever, then that doesn't count. That's not the best investment. In fact, if you have a client that's looking to spend less than about $3,000, hiring you is probably a bad investment for them, because you don't have the ability to do the things that they need you to do in order to generate the results that they're looking for. And so a better investment for them, if they're just looking to spend a couple $100 on a site, it's just, for now, hey, just get a Wix website for free or something like that and spend your couple $100 doing something else. But what I'm saying is, the something else is they should be hiring double stackers. They should be hiring people like you to help them develop the kinds of strategies and implement the tools and get the kind of exposure going. And there's really no better, I mean, what else are you going to do other than online marketing to get that kind of bang for the buck? It's like, what are you going to, like, run radio ads or something on TV or post something in the classifieds? I don't know. It's like, you can't get better results than you can get online. But that means you have to change your mindset. First of all, you have to believe that that is true, because it is. And you have to change the way that you think about what you do. Like, you can't think of yourself as just someone who builds websites. You have to expand that into helping people with email marketing and social media management and email campaigns like drip campaigns and sales funnels. And there's a huge variety of things that you could be doing in order to kind of crank out the effectiveness from the work that your clients are hiring you to do. And so that requires a mindset shift. So that's thing number 1. You got to change your mindset. And if you don't change your mindset, you'll never be successful at this, because you won't believe in yourself. You won't believe that what you're offering is legitimate. You won't have the forethought to know how to really solve problems for your clients, because what they're not really looking for just a website. They're really looking for you to lead them with regard to building their business through their online presence. So thing number 1, you have to develop a high value mindset. Thing number 2 is you have to implement high value long-term relationships with your clients. And this kind of goes directly together with what we were just talking about with regard to your mindset. Like, if you change your mindset about what you do and what you're delivering and why people are hiring you and the power of the results that you can bring to the table, what that means is it's automatically going to change the type of clients you attract, right? So if you change how you define yourself, if you change how you think about yourself, if you change how you talk about yourself, then you change the types of people that are attracted to you. So that comes down to the mindset. It also comes down to implementing these high value long-term relationships. So it's not just a one and done kind of project where you hand somebody a website and move on. They're not buying the website. You can get a website anywhere. This is one of the high value shifts. Like, if the shift is they're not looking to your tech skills or to your website or whatever, they're looking to you. And that means when they start working with you, you want to keep working with them. And when you do that, you solve a huge problem for your business. You cut out the thing that costs you the most, which is client acquisition. So that costs you the most time, it costs you the most money. So rather than trying to find new clients all the time, keep the clients that you already have. And so that means implementing a high value long-term business structure is how I define that. And so then in this article that I'm about to post, I write a lot of details about how that works and what you charge and what the expected revenue can be like from all of that. Cutting to the chase or whatever, the bottom line is the structure that you're looking for is you get somewhere between 5 to 10 total clients in your portfolio, so to speak, and that'll drive a 6-figure income for you. And you don't have to land any more clients. The truth is it's usually about 6 or 7 clients that you kind of onboard, and you've got a 6-figure income just coming off of the residual revenue of the marketing and the hosting and the maintenance and the month-to-month work that you do on behalf of your client. So get yourself, 6 or 7 clients, and you're generating $100,000 per year, and it's only going to take you about 5 hours per day in terms of billable time to fulfill all of those things. So that's a workload that you can handle on yourself as a self-employed WordPress consultant, solopreneur style in the United States. That's the business structure. And I'm going to lay out the details here in this article I'm about to post. But that's the structure you want to put in place in order to generate a 6-figure income for you. And that's, of course, what we do in DoubleStack. We get that structure in place for you. And then the third thing is you have to change the marketing, right? You have to create outcome-oriented marketing that shifts the focus away from your technical skill set and the things that those produce. So you're not saying, I'm going to sell you social media management, I'm going to sell you a website, I'm going to sell you a logo or whatever. And instead, you use those skills that you have, but they produce results. And that's the outcomes of those things. That's where you wrap your marketing around that. You have an outcome-centric marketing story to tell about your business. Like we were just saying, you change the way you talk about yourself, you change the types of clients that you attract. So you change those 3 things, and you're going to find that you can bring in a 6-figure income in 2020. So like over the next couple of months, you put those 3 things into place, and you'll dramatically change the future trajectory of your business. And so it's you're changing your mindset, you're changing your business structure, and you're changing your marketing. Those 3 things, that'll take you to where you want to be. So if you want help with any of that, like if you're thinking, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, then let's get on the phone and talk about it. So head over to doublestack.net/call. You'll find my calendar there, and we can literally get on the phone for like 45 minutes for free and talk about how to implement those 3 things into your business so that you don't have to get stuck, at 35 grand a year. I mean, you can literally take a situation where you maybe are currently making about 35 grand, $2,000 or $3,000 per month, and you can probably 10x that. I mean, you can be charging, instead of like $800 per site, you can charge $8,000 per site. But the point is, it's not, oh, look at that, hit the mic. It's not per site. You're not selling the site. What you're doing is you're selling results to your clients, and you're putting the tools in place to be able to generate those kinds of outcomes for them, which of course means you need to change the mindset, you need to change the business structure, and then you have to change the marketing so that you attract the types of clients that are looking for that multi-skill set solution that really drives outcomes for them. And that's what we can talk about on the phone, like how to put that into your business, how to make that happen for you. So if that sounds cool to you, head over to doublestack.net/call and just, pick a time off my calendar that's going to work for you, and we'll get on the phone and have that conversation. And if you want to learn, if you kind of want to dive deeper into the things that we just talked about, I'm going to post an article on the DoubleStack site, doublestack.net/blog is where you can go and grab that and get some more of the details about how all this stuff works. So awesome, guys. I hope everyone is having a wonderful December, and I'll be back in touch with you guys again next week. High five till then. Boop. Take care, guys.